Yo,
What's up?
hang on, I gotta go get some pants. Be right back.
Oh wait, the stream can hear us. Oops.
I'm doing so good on this fine evening. It's even- Wait. Wait. Stream still can Oh, the music's just super loud.
The music's still going. Well, let me do the intro again because it's gonna be really fucking bad.
Yeah.
Welcome to Love and Style Podcast, episode 37, and we're live on the YouTubes and Twitch. All right. And
Yo. It's your boy, motherfucking David on the ones and twos.
let's go.
What's up, man?
Doing pretty good. How about you, bro?
Man, I'm doing great. I just got out of class, been playing WoW. My wrists are fucking breaking because I'm addicted to video games again.
Let's go.
It's a good day, man.
Yep. It's been a pretty eventful week. A lot of things have happened. A lot of stories to touch up on. All right, but before we
Oh
get
yeah,
into
actually though,
Yeah.
I'm glad we were originally going to record this episode yesterday. I'm actually glad we didn't now because a lot of stuff happened today and yesterday that I want to talk about. So
Yeah, bro. All
a
the news
strange
drops
twist of
Monday.
fate. Yeah.
Yeah, but before we get into today's episode and all these delicious topics, right? I want to shout out, of course, our Patreons. Kylie Justice, James Aldani. Don't laugh at me, bro.
Aldana.
Aldani.
Aldalani. Fucking Gorlami, Pizzeria, Aldanini.
Peyton Adams, and finally Grunt980. Those are our Patreons. And if you're wondering, Caleb, how the fuck do I become a Patreon?
Well, you want to take your motherfucking self straight to patreon.com/left in the south. And there you can join our $2 or $5 tier, become our comrades, and support what we're doing here on the show. Every dollar helps. $2 a month. That's really not a big deal, you know. And
for 8
of course,
I can become a Left in the South patron.
For no less than one McDouble plus 50 cents, you can become a patron of this podcast, even minus the tax.
Insane.
Man, that's crazy.
And tell me, do I get anything for becoming a patron?
Yes, you get access to our Discord, an exclusive role for being a paid member of our podcast. You get access to exclusive content intermittently, not that often, but intermittent content. You get a shout out on everything we do, podcast and YouTube content. And if you do our $5 tier, I will kiss you in real life on the mouth.
Whoa! All that for 8 quarters?
8 quarters,
insane.
my friend.
And I also heard that David dropped some exclusive Patreon content a couple days ago, only for patrons, only on Patreon, and that's insane.
I heard something similar. I actually don't have a sub myself, so I don't know. I've never seen it.
But also,
I don't know what goes on at the Patreon.
A lot of stuff goes on the Patreon. But also, of course, subscribe to us on YouTube. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, and like that's our goal right now. Hit 1,000 subs, and then pass away. But hit 1,000 subs is our main goal right now.
If you can't donate or don't want to for whatever reason, throwing us a subscribe on YouTube is a great way to help out.
Tell your mom
really
about
helps.
it. Tell your dad about it. Your grandparents. Take their tablets, their phones, and just subscribe.
It's not illegal to subscribe on other people's accounts.
It's not.
Just saying.
It's actually free also.
Highly recommended.
But also, we have a Twitter, Dougley. I don't know if you know this. Caleb, I don't know why I called you Dougley.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, and we post on there.
That?
Lit podcast _ That's all it is. And
wow.
And boom, you can see I'm always posting on there, letting people know when we go live, letting know when a new video drops. Always telling people about our Discord. And funny memes sometimes. That's only if you're lucky.
All that.
But enough plugging shit in. I can already tell, people listening on their mobile devices, and they're already clicking away. They're like, fuck, when's the content going to fucking happen?
People skip this part in the video, so it's fine.
But finally.
Let's get started, man.
Get into it.
What are we doing?
The last
what has been going on
has happened. I know you were watching it. I know I watched a little bit. I think it was a pretty good one. Finally, because they actually decided to enforce the rules.
Yeah, so it was the first one where Daddy Trumpy boy has been muted. He was muted several times.
Hit by the Discord mute button. Shit.
Yeah, he did. It was really funny, dude. I didn't think they would actually do it. I was very surprised when it happened. Like he was just talking and his mic cut off. I was like, whoa, they're having like technical issues, but no, they're muting his ass. So yeah, it wasn't like the last debate where they really just went off and like Trump was able to just speak for like several uninterrupted minutes without, being stopped. It wasn't like that this time.
Yeah, I think it was funny though because since these rules were enforced, like it gave the false perception that Donald Trump was being more mature that night though. I've noticed people were saying like Donald Trump looked good. You look good.
That's like, true. I think like that's I don't want to say strategy because I hesitate to say he has any form of strategy, at any time.
Dude. He comes in
but like
takes the Addy and drops on stage.
If he were smart, I think it is actually a good play to kind of reel it in here. I mean, like if he reads the writing on the wall, like people are really into this not purity politics, but like looking like a nice person. I don't know. Yeah, like not heated, not angry. People don't like that shit, even though
also too, like he brands himself as I'm not a politician, I'm a businessman,
Yeah, so. Exactly, yeah. I don't know. It's kind of his persona to be like a belligerent asshole, but like people
Mm,
just don't like that, in a statesman. They don't want to have to like be embarrassed or think about what their president does, whether
mm,
it's good or bad. They don't want to have to think about it. They'd rather them just be, ornamental, so to speak.
mm. Yeah, but I
But
think.
yeah,
What do you think
the
about the
debate itself,
performance of
though, did
Biden and Trump?
anything? I honestly think I thought that like Biden did much better than
Yeah,
I
for sure.
expected this time. I think that he's like I don't know that we've been joking a lot about the drug shit, right? But
His
like
adrenochrome was wearing off towards the end of it.
yeah, but what is it about like they're so different in the debates. They're
Mm,
so lively. Like when they're doing town halls and stuff,
mm,
they look like 79-year-old men.
mm,
They're like kind of, getting up there in years. They're slowing down. And like I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying they're like old men. But like at the debate, they're like spry young 20-year-olds. They're like
mm,
rattling off their talking
mm,
points, like not skipping a beat. Joe like, stumbles over his words every now and again, but in a cute way, you know? Like
mm.
I was surprised. I thought they both did well. I don't think Trump really made a fool of himself at any point tonight during that debate
I
like he
mean,
did in the
a
previous
couple
one.
of times.
But like yeah, I mean,
Calling people who show up to their court
oh,
case, the lowest of the low IQs.
that was a
Um,
particularly weird moment for me. Like
it
that
was
came
so
out of left
funny. He's
field.
like, you know what? I shouldn't say it. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
it.
He was like, "Somebody hold me back. I'm
Someone
going to
hold
say
me.
it."
I'm gonna say it on
Yeah,
national
the IQ
television.
comment, that was definitely
Mm,
probably the weirdest moment of the
yeah,
night. It was like the scariest moment of the night, but I mean, it's nothing new, par
yeah.
for
When
the
that
course,
happened, I
really.
was fucking laughing. I'm like, wait, what is he about to say?
Yeah, I thought he was about to bring up some
Yeah.
stats like, oh, so anyway, despite being only 13%, whoa, Mr. Trump, relax. That's
Whoa.
when his mic gets
Yeah.
muted, bro.
Mute, 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 mute. Fuck yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
But it's so dumb too because recently I don't know if you heard about the Hunter Biden stories in the Hunter Biden laptop. Have you heard anything about this?
Laptop? No, I haven't heard
So
anything.
basically, like Rudy Giuliani, I think it's who it was. Like dropping this story right about Hunter Biden, and basically it's some he like left his laptop at some like tech shit, and like he gave it to these reporters, and they saw some damning shit about Hunter Biden, basically just like him like smoking crack, the working man's drug,
Already known,
mind you.
by the way. That makes him 10 times cooler. I don't give a shit what anyone says, dude. I would hang out with Hunter Biden. He's probably a
Yeah.
badass, man.
Yeah, and like just nudes, like him, snorting fucking shit off hooker's ass. But I mean, like,
Children, probably. I mean, let's be honest. It's probably children. I
but
mean,
like, I don't know
it's
why
just
these Republicans are rolling with this shit. Like this, like, is not gonna affect Biden. Like, if anything, like you're just making
no.
Biden look like, yeah, of course, my son's dealt with the drug problems, and he's as many Americans do, have drug problems,
Yeah.
and just make,
It's like the single worst thing
yeah,
to attack him on, like having a son that's a
mm,
drug addict. And also, not even just a drug addict, he's like a recovered drug
mm,
addict. He's like a success story, you know?
yeah,
Like, joins the Navy at like 30 because he's, I don't
mm,
know, a dumbass or whatever. Doesn't feel like he's achieving anything in life. Gets tossed, dishonorably discharged for pissing hot with cocaine, which means, like, by the way, if you fail a cocaine drug test, that means you've like done cocaine within the past like 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
he
So
took it
like he's
right after the
snorting
test.
cocaine in like basic
Mm,
fucking bathroom. It's interesting man for
yeah,
sure. Way more interesting than his brothers and way less ghoulish. Definitely not like a good person. But as far as Biden's go, I would say Hunter's like the least bad.
yeah.
You know.
But the reason as to why I think they're trying to run with this story is because they're trying to do 2016. Hillary had a lot of shit going on with her. With the emails and Benghazi and shit like that, right? They're just trying to pull another 2016, trying to like, oh, Biden's the most corrupt politician you've ever seen. Worse than Hillary, right? They're trying to do another 2016, maybe, but the
Yeah.
strategy's not working. Like,
No, and I
because
think
Biden's
I
the
think
most
it's an
centrist, the
interesting.
most lame politician,
Yeah,
the most
that's
neoliberal.
it. That's you're really hitting the nail on the head, I think, because like that strategy worked so uniquely well with Hillary because of how unlikable she was. Like
Mm,
because even Democrats were like not really excited about her.
yeah.
And I don't know, Trump's in a weird way, Trump's presidency has energized a lot of Democrats for someone like Joe Biden, who in theory you could say is just as like, just as not progressive as Hillary Clinton. I don't know a better way to put it.
Mm,
Like in terms of policy, Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, like they're not that much on a they're very alike in that way. And I think Trump's presidency is what has made Biden so successful. We would not have seen Biden succeed so hard. We might have seen someone like Pete Buttigieg or even Bernie, but because of Trump, Biden has become a very unique beast that
Yeah.
cannot be conquered
A lot
apparently.
of people
And
just want to
and I
return
wanted
to
to
normalcy.
yeah, exactly. I wanted to go on that vein a little bit more too,
Mm.
in terms of Biden winning. New poll out of Florida puts him at 50%, puts Trump at 48%. So still a tight race.
Mm.
As everyone knows, Florida's a really big swing
Yep.
state. Famously, in 2000, George Bush stole the election in Florida using his Supreme Court,
Mm.
or the Supreme Court. And there have been many concerns lately with Trump's Supreme Court. Breaking fucking news last night: Amy Barrett was confirmed, so she is our
Yep.
115th, I believe,
Got it.
Supreme Court
Yeah, and they were
justice.
they were rushing in that shit. They were trying to get that shit done
Yeah,
as quickly as possible before Biden fucking takes this dub. And it's
yeah,
funny. I actually have a story because the other day, of course, head hanging low, driving to the nearest early voting place, which was this library. And it was so funny because I was like standing in line, like waiting to vote for Biden. Sucks, but I feel like it's the moral vote, right? To vote for Biden
right.
right now.
Could be worse.
Could be worse. But I
Yeah,
thought it was funny because I was standing in line and it was there's Trump supporters, of course, fucking standing nearby, waving their Trump flags, fucking simping for Trump, which is honestly the most disgusting thing. Like I see
yeah.
these people and I'm like, why? Like it's a Sunday afternoon. It's a beautiful day, and here you are on the side of the road waving this Trump
Double
flag,
cheeked up.
making your young kids less than 10 also wave these flags, which it's honestly just despicable. But I thought it was funny
Yeah,
because
dude.
someone drove by playing the fuck Donald Trump song. I thought that was the funniest shit ever. Honestly brave man because I thought he was gonna get
Yeah,
fucking
dude.
shot at.
They'll fucking shoot at you, bro.
Yeah, for
That's
real.
crazy. I've been thinking lately about taking my Bernie sticker off my car because, like, first of all, I'm not even
You're a
like that big of
target,
a
bro.
fan
You're
anymore.
a
Yeah,
target.
exactly.
For real.
Literally, like, I'm not even like a huge fan of them anymore.
Mm.
So I don't know. I just feel like I'm putting a target on my back.
Yeah, for real. You're gonna get like
Having
your
that
tires
sticker.
slashed. They're gonna put
Yeah.
like a car bomb on your shit.
Not like I'm not ashamed to be a leftist, and I
Mm.
would unironically probably die for it.
Mm.
But like, I don't want to be mildly inconvenienced by it.
Right? Like
Like I don't
someone
want to get
breaks
my
your window
car like
because of it, or like
yeah,
someone smashed your.
exactly.
Yeah, it's like that's a lot. Tires are
Yeah,
expensive.
exactly. Yeah, it's just something I don't want to deal with. But
Mm.
man, it's I don't know, this polling shit, like I mean Biden, like he's got it, man. Like
Yeah.
it's looking locked down. And I know out of Texas, like his this is the most voting participation
Mm.
already before the election has even happened. There are already more young voters than there were in 2016
Mm. We're a week
already,
away.
and it's not even November 3rd. So
Yep.
yeah, um, I don't know, man. It's
Mm.
looking bad for Trump.
Yeah.
A lot of the Supreme Court stuff, it concerns me, but I don't think that with the Bush scenario,
Mm.
right, in 2000, it was just such a different scenario. I just don't think that it's
It was
likely
a
that
new
Trump will
strategy.
succeed.
It was a new
Yes,
play.
exactly. It was a new play, and like I don't think Trump is liked enough. Like George Bush
Mm.
was hated, of course, but like he was not as divisive, I guess, in a way. I don't know how to
Controversial.
put it because like people weren't paying as much attention to him, I
Mm.
guess is a way to say it, because he wasn't Trump.
Mm.
And I just feel like Trump can't pull that off. I
And
could be
he has
wrong, and
all
I would
his
hate to
eyes
be
on
wrong.
him right now.
Yes, exactly. Like people are expecting him to do something shady to the point where it'd be very difficult to get away with it at this point. And I think he's
Mm.
fucked. I really think that Biden's got it, for better or for worse. And we'll see.
Mm.
We'll see if I'm wrong
Yeah,
though.
but we also have another story.
Yeah. Go.
I don't know if you want to because I haven't been stopping the recording. I don't know if when you feel like okay, like we can stop
Oh,
the recording.
I don't care. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording after this story. So there's another story, right? They're deploying National Guard in Texas on election day, and this is
Mm.
worrying Texas Democrats. What do you think about that?
Did they say why? Where is Texas Democrats? I mean, like, I don't know, because in one way,
Mm.
I would say that like there's some something to be said about like
Mm,
protecting people who want to vote,
mm,
but at the same time, like they're probably not doing that. They're
mm,
intimidating people who want to vote away from voting. I don't know, because like it reminds me, it harkens back to a time, you know, like when black people first got the right to vote, for
mm,
example, and like a lot of white people would literally physically block them from voting and be like, yeah, you have the right to vote, but you functionally don't have it because you're not able to exercise
mm.
that right. And like
I'm about to stop
I
you.
worry that it could be a scenario like that where the National Guard's not preventing people from voting, but people don't vote because they don't want to like be involved in that
Mm,
situation, you know? So
yeah.
it terrifies me, but
Mm,
I don't know, like what would they actually do? It's not like they're gonna start shooting people at the polls, you know?
not
Who
yet.
knows? Not yet, yeah.
I mean,
They're
what
not
worries
to
me
that
is,
point yet.
Trump was saying like, on November 3rd, like any form of resistance, he's gonna crush it, like, and he also like going to what happened in Minneapolis. He's like, we sent in the National Guard and we took it down. It was quick, 15
Right.
minutes.
Him comparing those riots
Mm,
to the election, I did air quotes by the way for the audio only listeners.
mm,
Him comparing those quote unquote riots to the election crowds, like people who are going to be protesting just naturally as they always do on that day, like is a terrifying thought. But you have to ask yourself, like, what is he actually capable of doing? What does he have the
mm,
political capital to do? And I don't think that he has the political capital to do anything drastic. You know, he might go down kicking and screaming, and he's already done incalculable damage
mm.
to the government, especially our judicial system. But as far as like a coup or like a blatant government overthrow, I just don't see it. You know, do you
Yes.
disagree or?
No, I agree with you. I think everyone agrees that Trump is a proto-fascist, and the worst is yet to come. Talk on.
Absolutely, I see him more as a stepping stone.
Yeah.
I don't think he's much of a threat anymore.
Mm. But like I feel like he's laying the foundation for someone even worse to come, normalizing these fascist shits in our government. So, we'll see. We'll see soon. I feel. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, on to the next thing. I want to talk to you about. Pause the recording. Start again. I want to talk to you about Mitch McConnell. Have you seen Mitch McConnell recently?
I've seen like too much coverage, honestly. Like you should only have to see this man a finite
Yeah.
number of times in your life, and I think that number
Mm.
is one, just so
Yes.
that you know what he looks like.
So I feel
Dude,
like
he is such an annoying
yeah.
person, and his
Mm.
image perfectly fits him. You know what I mean? He
Mm.
looks like the person that he is.
So I think
You should
after
show that
like
shit.
all these yeah, soon. After all these foul acts that Mitch McConnell has performed, all his evil deeds, it's finally catching up to him and it's corrupting him from the inside, and we're starting to see symptoms of that. So
The fell magic is reaching his heart,
I want
his
to
black
show the
soul.
audience an image of Mitch McConnell, of what he currently looks like. But I want to do a warning: if you are squeamish and do not like seeing decomposing bodies, turn away from the stream
Jesus.
right
Oh my
now.
god. I'm looking at the picture now in full screen. This is
turn
awful. What
away
the
from
fuck?
the turn away from the stream. Holy shit!
Dude, what is he like
But
okay?
here's Mitch McConnell right now. As you can see, he is
Jesus.
he is fucking decomposing. You see his hands; they're on the verge of falling off. His limbs. As you can see, his lips. The extremities. You're gonna see his
Yeah.
nose. You're gonna see his ears. Those are the next ones to start falling
He,
off his body. But
he looked like
Jesus,
he looks like he was just summiting Mount Everest and he had to get airlifted out and like he's just suffering the first stages of frostbite and his hands and
mm,
nose are like turning blue. What the
yeah,
fuck is wrong with this guy?
Jesus.
Like my grandpa is older than this guy. He looks 10 times younger than him.
Right,
You know?
it's
Like
fucking crazy. I don't know. It's all those fucking deeds. They got the project.
yeah.
Mitch McConnell's project going on, right? Have you heard anything about that? Because I legitimately have. I'm just wondering if you know anything about this project he has.
His project? You mean like his strategy to get Amy confirmed? Or are you talking
I
about
think
something
that's
else?
part of his project
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
enact
I know that his
fucking theocracy.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I his McConnell's been very interesting lately to me because it
Mm,
has really illustrated this democratic like this failure of the Democratic Party and
mm,
we talked about this way back in like one of our first episodes because I was really on this shit about the Democratic
so,
Party being a big tent party in the sense that like they allow a lot of people in that they probably shouldn't. And I don't I don't know what needs to change in the Democratic Party, but they need to stop accepting certain people into the group.
Yeah.
Like certain really I'm just saying liberals. Like liberals just need to get the fuck out.
Mm.
But it really just means but also we see things like Amy McGrath in the McConnell race. We see people like Amy McGrath starting to become popular in the Democratic Party even though she's a Republican. I mean, she's a
Yeah.
conservative. She loves Trump. She's a fan of Trump, but Democrats are voting for her because she's running against McConnell.
Mm.
It's such an interesting thing because there there's nothing you can do other than vote for the slightly worse, slightly not as bad person. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted to know what you thought about that, like because Amy McGrath's running and she like the rationale behind it is that no one else can win. Like a conservative has to run
Mm.
because that's the only person that can win in that state or whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Does that
It's
make you
weird.
uncomfortable or what?
It's weird because it's like if you want to garner the most votes, right, you have to go towards whatever is the majority, right? So in Kentucky, that's center right. So you're gonna have to see Democrats running as center right, like basically conservatives, Democrats, Republicans. It's gonna be the same thing in Kentucky, right? If they're trying to
Right.
secure a dub. So I don't know. It's weird. It's
Exactly.
fucking weird. It just shows you that there's only like one party in the United States.
Right. It's the perfect illustrator of that, I think. And like, if you ever need to help get that point across to people, you can point to the McGrath race. But I think that like in the McGrath case, like I see tons of threads on Reddit, for example, which is a typically left leaning like liberal
You
website.
never know what
And
shows up on
yeah, it's
Reddit.
like a centrist
Yeah.
website, right? But
Gamer.
people on there love McGrath because they see that she's running against McConnell
Mm.
and that's all they care about. And they
Mm.
see that she's a Democrat and that's all that
Mm.
they care about, right?
Yeah.
It really rubs me the wrong way, this whole blue no matter who thing. And it's why like I'm very reluctant to become a part of the like vote for Biden crew or whatever, because a lot of people see that and they're just like, okay, I'm voting for Democrats. They don't do any critical thinking beyond
Mm.
that. And I think that's a potentially very harmful thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't want to go too much on it because we talked about it a lot last week. So instead we can talk about something else, but I just
Yeah.
wanted to mention that.
But yeah, of course, Mitch McConnell fucking decomposing. His Lich King powers is finally getting to him after
Yeah.
being in office for what, like 43 years. It's
Something ridiculous.
it's finally coming to him, and fuck, we might see Mitch McConnell maybe completely decomposed by the end of 2020.
Yeah, he takes off the helm of domination and his skin is
You can
just
just see him
blackened.
fucking just fucking blow in the wind. Yes.
Yeah. Dude, I wanted to say too, like,
Mm.
Congress is not meeting again until after the election. So officially, we know that there's going to be no stimulus until
Mm.
after the election, at the very
Is
least.
this
I
a
mean,
new topic you want to get into?
well, I mean, this is part of
Okay.
the same topic.
Okay.
I mean,
Go ahead.
because McConnell's heavily involved.
Yes.
I think it's a very interesting thing because they've locked in that
Mm.
decision. Like, we're not using the stimulus as a way to gain votes. Idiotic decision. We've been
So
talking
dumb.
about this for weeks. Absolutely idiotic decision, and I think that it's like the only thing that can seal their defeat in
Mm.
an absolute way
Yeah.
is the fact that they're not giving the stimulus. That was an
Mm.
absolutely brain dead move, and it kind of makes me think again that people like McConnell have something else in mind.
It's
And
dumb
you were mentioning
because
his plan, right?
yeah, it's
There
dumb.
must be something to it.
Yeah,
There's
it's
no
it's
way that
so
they're
dumb
doing that for no reason.
because like this like vote me in and I'll give you a stimulus check. But like
Yeah.
I think we can all agree. I feel like Biden's gonna give a stimulus check, right? If the House
Or
will
at least
allow.
something,
Like
like
so.
I can't say Biden's going to be great, but I believe that yes, he would probably do something for working people at the very
Mm.
least because he's not an idiot. He sees the writing on the wall. He knows people are dying. Like
Mm.
he has practically no choice but to do a stimulus. And
Yeah.
neither does Trump, but I guess he doesn't see that. Like he doesn't understand that he has no choice
Mm.
but to do it. And I think Biden probably at least has
Mm.
that much political savvy. Just some it could be good, could be bad, who knows.
Yeah, and before we move away from this, I just want to say I'm still seeing people like blame Nancy Pelosi for these stimulus negotiations on Twitter, and it's so ridiculous. Like, have they forgotten that like I don't want to get too much into this. We already talked about this last podcast, but it's the Republicans who are fucking over the working class in these stimulus negotiations. Like, there's
Right.
no reason to be trying to fuck Nancy Pelosi. I mean, I of course I want Nancy Pelosi out of the House of Representatives because
Yeah.
she's a fucking Republican sucking boot sucker, right? She
Yeah.
had that one weird clip. She's like, I think we need to have a strong Republican Party. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
First of all, But I
The
don't want to get into
classic
it.
good old
Yeah.
boys, thing.
But I
Yeah,
mean, let's
I
move
don't know.
on here.
Yeah, like David said, we don't have to get into it. We talk about that every week.
Yeah.
Before we move on though,
Mm,
Grunt says Reddit pretends to be left leaning, but there's so many conservative takes on r/all regularly. So unbelievably true, and that
mm,
I think that really speaks to the people's lack of political education. They understand that they believe themselves to be progressive and liberal, so
mm-hmm,
they latch on to like those what they believe are liberal takes. But in many cases, those takes are made by people who don't necessarily have a great political education. They're just making decisions, and like they're often influenced heavily by propaganda, which tends to be right leaning. They don't understand that what they're saying it
mm-hmm.
is not progressive at all. It's conservative. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think that's why Reddit a lot of times purports to be liberal or pretends to be, but isn't necessarily in some
Mm,
cases. And I think liberalness should be like the baseline. David, what you said about Nancy
mm,
Pelosi, like it is so true. Nancy Pelosi is awful and I hate her, but like she should be the bottom tier, bottom of
mm,
the barrel. Like it should be like anyone who says like both parties are the same. I mean, that's obviously a lie. Nancy Pelosi is bad, but she's not a conservative or a fascist. One is
mm,
obviously worse. The key is though not to
mm.
be content with just removing the fascists and the conservatives. You want to go one step further
Yeah.
and also remove the liberals. Anyway,
Yeah, I agree. But
we can move
I
on.
mean, let's move on here. So the next thing I want to talk about, which is a pretty interesting story, I'm surprised this didn't get a lot of coverage here, is that Joe Biden had an assassination attempt that was thwarted by the FBI. Have you heard anything about this?
I heard very little about it, and yeah, I'm also
Mm.
surprised there hasn't been much coverage because that's like a home run for Democrats. Like, oh my god, they tried to kill the fucking presidential
The
nominee.
next
Like,
president,
yeah,
already. So this guy, 19-year-old Seattle native, Alexander, right? He admitted to attempting to assassinate Joe Biden, and what they found in their car, I was like, wait, what the fuck? What they found this in his van? So they
what
found
was it?
an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle, a 9mm pistol, explosives, and a book on how to make your own explosive device. And that's not even the crazy part. There was also $500,000 in cash chilling in his
What?
van. Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I have several comments. First of all, they write books on how to make bombs, and second of all,
Yeah.
where do I check out a book like that? Third of
Mm.
all, how do you have $500,000 in cash? And
Um.
I guess that's all. Three questions.
Apparently, how he got the money, which what I was most curious about, like, how the fuck does this 19-year-old have a $500,000 cash
Yeah,
chilling?
yeah.
Apparently, he got endowed it. So yeah,
Like by his parents or
yeah.
something. Ah, sick. Okay, so he's just a trust fund baby. He got
Mm-hmm.
probably radicalized. He lives in Seattle, so he's
Mm-hmm.
like discontent with everything. He's like, God, all these
Fuck
fucking liberal
Antifa.
cucks are all around me. I
Yeah.
can't take it anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
he wants to take his revenge on someone, so he
Mm-hmm.
chooses
Yeah.
Joe Biden for some reason.
It's
The
very weird.
communist leader, Joe Biden,
Yeah.
Antifa
Fucking
super
Marxist
soldier.
Leninist Joe Biden.
Yeah,
Fucking crazy.
Marxist Bidenist.
With fucking commie hilarious. Right. God, I thought it was fucking insane, right? Like I haven't heard any. Maybe because like he didn't get too far. It was just this van. It was like nearby, and like maybe it was like in the beginning stages. But I'm surprised this wasn't talked about because the kidnapping of that
Yeah,
Michigan governor. That was covered a lot.
right. That was huge
That was
news. Yeah.
pretty big news.
It kind of reminds me of like we briefly mentioned the judge that was involved in an Epstein like
Mm.
case. Like her son and husband were like killed or something.
Oh
I
yeah,
think they like
her
opened
son opened the door and got
yeah,
fucking blasted.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like they were trying to kill her or whatever. And I feel
Mm.
like that too was like another one of those things where it was just swept, like no one really talked
Mm.
about it. It was weird. It's weird how like
Yeah.
some things get into the news and some don't, even when they're comparable.
Mm.
Arguably the Biden assassination is worse than the attempted kidnapping because I mean, I don't know, like I think that the truth is that a lot of these FBI like thwarted plans
Mm.
aren't really like as bad as they make it out to be. I think that a lot of them,
It's
the
because
ones
they
that
don't
get
let it
caught,
happen.
yes, exactly, like the ones that get caught, they're like already fucked from the
Yeah, I
beginning. Like
think
they're
the
never gonna succeed.
Michigan governor one, like the reason why I think that one blew up a little more is because that was like a group of people, like trying to do this
Yeah.
shit, and there was like some footage that got released, and I think they had a person like in on it, like in the FBI, like who was like teaching them how
Yeah,
to do
that's
shit.
I think that that's like 99% of cases that the FBI actually catches is like
Mm,
where they're already in. Like they already know, and the only
mm,
reason they're allowing it to get that far is so that they can catch as many people as possible. It's kind of
yeah.
like Valve, like anti-cheat, where they don't ban people right away. Like, but
Mm,
in real life, like
yeah, for real.
it's but also it makes them look good as well. When you get a headline where it's like FBI thwarts
Mm,
assassination attempt, like that's a great way to secure funding. And if you take any classes on like government allocation, or if you're an economist, like you'll learn about the fact that there's a ton of waste when it comes to like FBI, like NSA, stuff like that. They create programs just to spend government money. Like only because like if they don't spend it, they don't get it, right? And
mm,
there's a ton of ways, and like programs like this in the FBI to catch terrorists, like all these positives that they're getting, a lot of them are just artificially created. Like they'll radicalize people and intentionally get them to like commit terrorist acts, and
mm.
then arrest them.
To
So
commit
that's an
terror.
interesting thing to consider. I'm not
Mm,
saying all terrorists are like secret FBI agents, but it's something to consider. They've done it before, so
mm. Yeah, but just more insane news. Like that is crazy. But I feel like there's nothing left to talk about there. Let's move on to the next thing we got here, which you put down, I believe.
oh shit.
It said
Uh
economics are gawking at Joe Biden for his shitty
oh
means-tested debt forgiveness
yeah.
program.
Yes.
Neoliberalism is gnawing at the heart of this country.
Yes.
Go ahead and
So
explain that.
so Biden's new so everyone knows about the Biden
Mm,
forgiveness program, which we're supposed to pretend is great. $10,000 off your loans. People
mm,
on Reddit are going up, oh, it's better than nothing. You weren't going to get any dollars under Trump. It's like, okay, motherfucker, Bernie's plan was to forgive all student debt. So like
mm.
already like and Bernie was already not even that radical. So Biden's $10,000 plan is literally a spit in the face of working
Like
people that have like
ten thousand
70
dollars is like
80
nothing
grand of
to the
debt.
amount of
Yeah.
loan this people take out.
A
That is
spit in
insane.
the face. Seriously. And then on top of that, Biden just recently announced his campaign announced that for public workers,
Mm,
they're going to have this program where basically for every year of work, they forgive $10,000 or whatever of payment. And the idea is that over time you repay your loans by working for the state. But I mean that's just like wage slavery with extra steps. It's not really, I don't understand this whole thing. Like it's so means tested. You have to work for the government. So that automatically assumes you're eligible to work.
mm,
You want to work for the government. Like the jobs are shit. Like it assumes that the job you get is available and not shitty.
mm,
The pay's probably, it needs to be better than the private sector to attract people. There's so many problems with it, and it's so shitty and neoliberal and means tested, and people are in love with this shit. They're like, I can't wait. I would literally cry if I got $50,000 off. Like, which of course my heart breaks for them,
mm.
but god damn, like do something more. Give us something, man. Biden is so
Yeah.
shitty. Like he only does half measures. He'll never go the whole way.
Um, I worry
It's
that
insane.
like of course, like with a Biden presidency, people are gonna stop. We talk about this like in every episode. Another thing, but like people are gonna stop. Going out there, getting on the streets. People are gonna settle for Joe Biden because they're gonna like the normalcy. But no, like we need to
Yeah.
fucking go out there. We need to try our best. Fucking keep on the same amount of pressure on Joe
Yeah.
Biden.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That really like broke my heart
Yeah.
when I saw the $10,000 thing. Like
Mm,
it's such a pittance, man, and it's like
mm,
it won't do anything. All it does is relieve just that little bit of pressure. It's like they're opening this valve, and like a little bit of steam is coming out, and we can last another 10 years before we get to the point where it's going to boil over again. Like it's just
mm,
putting a timeline on something that really just needs to come to an end immediately. And I don't know, the piecemeal fashion that neoliberals choose to tackle things like student debt is so harmful to working people. It really annoys me.
yeah.
Michael Stevens says nothing will fundamentally change. I mean, that was his slogan, man.
Uh,
We should believe that. He's not going to lie about that.
I
Fritz
turned my
says
mic up.
anything more than oh good.
Hold on.
Fritz says anything more than bare minimum would assume they care about us. Absolutely, yeah. And it's the perfect example of Bismarckian politics, aka give people the bare minimum that you need
Mm,
to keep them from revolting. That's it.
mm-hmm.
It's you never give them more than what they need to stop from beheading you. Basically,
Yeah.
like you just want to keep your head attached to your body and extract as much excess
Mm,
capital as possible while doing so.
mm,
It's really a great example of that. Fritz also says the political pressures now are higher than the Civil War era. I definitely agree with that, but I think that the ability for it to bubble over into like a physical conflict or a countrywide civil war, I think that that's different. I don't necessarily think that the conditions are the same, but I think the
Mm,
problems are the same. And I think that's
yeah.
a really good observation you're making as well.
Yeah, that's why I really like Bernie Sanders because like he was always saying like our work doesn't end on November 3rd. We gotta keep on going. Past after we win the election, we gotta keep on going, fighting for what we want. But I just hope that people just aren't just fine with just Joe Biden. That's what I'm hoping for. A lot of people are coming out, so
Absolutely.
like hopefully a lot of people like there's a lot of things going on, and people are getting more involved with the political process. And then we have
Yeah.
another story here. I want to talk about. AOC. Let's get into the AOC. So AOC, I don't know if you know, did a huge motherfucking Among Us stream.
Yep.
It
I was
blew
there.
the
Were you
fuck
guys
up.
there?
I was there.
Yeah.
I was there. Were you guys there? It was huge, and it was
It
it
was
was
huge.
definitely
Yeah.
definitely entertaining to see
I
these.
have to say,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say
Mm,
I was very impressed. Like it was amazing. It was
mm,
actually great. They did a great job putting it together.
mm,
Hassan helped. I know Pokimane was involved, and
mm.
I'm a big
Bunch of
fan
other
of those
Twitch
people.
streamers, yeah.
So, not that I watch Twitch often, but like I admire
Mm,
those people's content.
mm,
It was great of them to work with her, and I thought it was great.
mm,
And she was like, she's so relatable, dude. Honestly, it's hard not to love AOC. Like every time
mm,
I see footage of her or anything, she's so young, I guess. So I identify with her a lot
mm.
more than normal politicians.
Yeah, I
I
was
thought it was
surprised with the
great. I thought it
quality.
was really
Yeah,
fun.
I was very surprised of
Yeah,
how well done. I thought there was gonna be more technical issues, but yeah, it was really good. But another, I want to talk about. So, what do you think? Do you think this really helped bring people out to vote?
I think like the gamer
Mm,
generation, the gamer demographic, I think is uniquely positioned in a place where people like AOC actually
mm,
can make a huge difference in terms of
mm,
voter turnout. I think like a lot of young people need to be energized, like need to be pushed into voting.
mm,
And AOC talked a lot in the stream about the new democratic thing of making a voting plan, which is basically just looking at it like a ballot online, figuring out who you want to vote for, deciding where you're going to go, and making sure you're registered,
mm,
all that shit, etc. And I actually do think that, yeah, that probably is an effective way to get people to vote. It's a real shame that it's for Joe Biden because I think like if it were
yeah.
for a different candidate, it would be a great way to get young people involved in
Mm,
grassroots organizing. And she talked about that on the stream, and I can tell that like, or just psychoanalyzing her. I don't know her in real life or anything, but just by what she says, I almost feel like she wants to say more. Like wants to be more radical, but of course she has to toe the line and support Biden because Trump winning is a very bad thing that she doesn't want to see happen. So,
yeah.
but overall, I thought it was a great stream, and I think a lot of young people probably are energized from that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I want to talk because people were saying like, I don't think the AOC stream really did anything. Gamers, really very centrist. I don't care about politics. But I think what's most
that's
important,
true. Yeah,
like the most important thing is that like this isn't for the people. Like it may like some people may have it's like been swayed to vote right, but what you really want to see is like all the very young kids who aren't able to vote yet. They're excited. They see the Among Us. They see this good message to vote. Make change in your communities and stuff like that, and they take that to heart. And like those kids, they're gonna remember that for like the rest of their life. Like oh my god, like I'm excited about the political process because people are made to seem like oh it's so boring to vote. It's like it's a hassle. Like you don't feel good, but I think like I feel good when I vote. Like I felt like I've done something.
yeah.
I think it feels good to vote. And like like people really need to get more excited to vote. Like the turnout's gonna be fucking humongous this year, but like in previous years, bro, like fucking no one fucking came out to vote. Like people were like, oh
Well, but don't you think that's a symptom of
yeah,
the low like excitement for the politicians that we have though? I
I
mean,
mean yeah,
like
that's true as well,
it's hard to say, it's hard to
and it's
blame
hard to
people
vote
not
as
voting
well.
for Hillary Clinton. Like it's hard to blame people not to get excited about that. And
Mm,
I don't know, it's interesting to see years like this where we have huge surges
mm,
because it kind of gives you an insight into the mind of the average person. Like voting for Hillary Clinton before Trump was president obviously wasn't enough of an incentive for normal people to go out and vote because no one voted for her.
yeah,
But now that Trump has been president for 4 years, people are really excited to vote for Biden, even though, like we said earlier, he's
Mm.
not exactly much more progressive than Hillary was anyway. So it really kind of like gives you an insight into what people care about, and what a major thing they care about is how loud is our president, how
Mm.
belligerent is he, how annoying is he, how often does he post on Twitter, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
these are the things that Americans care about,
Uh,
and I think that the voting numbers show that.
Yeah, but also another thing that Trump campaign did in 2016 was, they're like, how can we, these people might not vote for the Republican Party, but how can we get them to not want to vote for the Democrats? And like
Right.
surprisingly, that was very successful, and they
Yeah.
convinced a lot of people not to vote.
It
But
was successful because the Democrats were their allies in that. Like
yeah,
the Republicans, they smartly realized that the Democrats' biggest enemies were themselves because they
mm,
were more willing than the Republicans to pick people who didn't necessarily align with the party's constituents' opinions, and because they would prefer the donor money over the voter support. And the Democrats made a calculation and they decided that that was worth it. It was
mm,
worth losing to Trump in 2016. And I mean, that's how you really have to look at it. Like
mm,
it's not a mistake that they made; it's a calculation that they made. It wasn't an accident. Yeah, and I think I don't know. It really just puts that on display for everyone to see. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the Democratic
yeah,
Party, and while we're on the topic of
mm,
AOC, AOC has been spearheading this new Democratic thing where she wants to pack the court. They want to expand the court. We mentioned earlier, Amy Barrett was confirmed last night
yes,
as the 115th Supreme Court Justice of our country. And AOC is the one of the first Democratic voices to say, if they're going to bulldoze her through, we're just going to grow the court. And that's it. The Supreme Court's just going to have more than 9 people now.
yeah.
What do you think about that strategy? Do you think it's going to be a success? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think there's any like
I
shortcomings or what?
mean,
I
like
want to hear your opinion.
we're just gonna like. I feel like expanding the court. I feel like it should be a good thing because like I don't want a fucking Republican majority. Court here. Like it's gonna fucking suck. Mitch McConnell, like clearly he has something in the works by trying to rush in this appointment, right? Expanding the courts, but I can see it going both ways, really. I can see it that the Republicans, we expand the court this presidency, they expand the court next presidency. So like we might just see like who knows how large we're gonna see the court become.
Right. I don't know. That's the thing that concerns me is like who's to say that every election after this is not
Mm,
just going to
yeah,
be like we grow the court by 2, right?
yeah,
It's I actually think it's good though because it lowers people's faith in the Supreme Court. I think that's
mm,
actually a really important thing right now, and I don't know if AOC means to do this, but I think if the Democrats do this strategy, that would be one of the unintended potential positive
or
effects
at least be able to
because
vote these people out.
yes, exactly. Like we need to do something, and I think people need to realize the average person needs to realize how dumb and stupid the Supreme Court is. Like from day one, it was created to be a way to supersede the will of the popular,
Yep.
the popular will of the people, right? So it needs to be done away with entirely. But until then, we can bend the rules and break the rules and
Mm,
make up our own rules because it shows people that it was all bullshit in the first place and really
mm,
it was all just a political game and they
yep.
didn't really care about the rules at all because they don't, and it's all a farce. But that's the reason Democrats are so scared to do it
Mm,
though, because they know that they
yeah.
know if people lose faith in the process, it makes it harder to get people to care about it, which means Democrats lose more. So it's a very delicate process to deal with, and it kind of excites me to see AOC talking about it because I think it's a good strategy if you want Democrats to win.
Mm,
But as far as long term, I don't know if it's going to be good because Republicans can just do the same, like David was saying.
yeah.
There's nothing to stop them.
Yeah, but I feel like it's a good place to stop that topic. If this red state's blue drain, I don't know what that's about. Is that
Yeah, yeah,
relevant?
we'll bring that up. I wanted to mention too, though. Zion says, "Welcome to 2032. There are 33 Supreme Court justices. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted." I can't wait for that day, man. All drugs are legal,
Mm-hmm.
but abortion is still illegal, of
Mm,
course. Um, Zion says, like people will look up to us for some stupid reason. Do you think Biden will repair the imperialist reputation that the U.S. has? Like people will look up to us for some stupid reason. Actually, I think that's a great question. And I think the answer is yes. And I think that we have a great example of that under Biden's previous administration, because
Mm.
in terms of Obama, he was
Obama.
a warmonger just like George Bush was. I mean, maybe he didn't kill a million Iraqis, but he definitely was on par in terms of moral decisions, I would say. He killed plenty of innocent people, and we continue to do so to this day. I think that Barack Obama is great evidence that yes, a liberal president can whitewash America's involvement in like imperial affairs overseas, because when the president is not tweeting about the coup that they're committing, it's not exactly public knowledge. People aren't as involved in it, and it kind of flies under the radar.
Mm.
You know, it's not like Afghani orphans are tweeting like, "LOL, Barack Obama just drone striked my hospital."
Mm.
So we don't really hear about that shit, and no one really cares. At least under Trump, it's kind of annoying and loud, so people get involved in it. I am very concerned, Zion, about the imperial image of the U.S. kind of going away under Biden, and I hope to be able to do my part in making sure
Mm.
that does not happen, because it's very dangerous. But yeah, we can definitely move on to the next topic.
Okay.
Oh, that was me. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about so I've been seeing a lot, David. You may have
Yes.
seen this topic come up. You may have heard
Mm.
things on Reddit about this a lot. Even average people I know make this argument. Red states, when it comes to government
Mm.
spending, red states are a drain on society and blue states are a gain on society. And what they mean by that is like states like California, when it comes to taxes, they're paying in a lot of taxes,
Mm.
while states like Mississippi, Georgia, even my state of Tennessee, they tend to drain taxes out of through public programs like Medicare,
Mm.
Medicaid, or other government assisted programs like SNAP, things like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the I actually think that this rhetoric is very dangerous, and I personally can't really support it. I think that this is classist.
Mm.
I think that it's really cringe, and it concerns me. I think that when people say like red states just drain, it turns it into a class warfare thing, but
Mm.
between the wrong thing. Rather than poor people and working people together versus capital, it's capital owners and other workers against poor people. You know what I
Mm.
mean? It turns poor people into the enemy. And I think that's really dumb, because like when you say red states are a drain, you're totally ignoring the context of why those states are that way. Like why people who live there
Mm.
don't have access to the facilities that they should. It's not because they're stupid and poor and racist. They're racist, of course, and that's bad, and they are stupid, and that's bad, and they have way more kids than the average,
Mm.
upper class household, which is probably bad. And there's a number of things that are bad, but those are symptoms. Those aren't the causing problem.
Yeah.
And I think that the red state, blue state thing, it's very classist, and it makes me uncomfortable. Do you agree or disagree, or
Yeah,
what? Do you
no,
have any
I
insight
agree
on
with
that?
you. It's definitely weird because, like, I mean, even California, it's like California's GDP is like higher than a lot of countries, just that state alone. So it's like
Yeah.
weird to make this like a comparison because like no other state in the United States can even compare to California's GDP.
Right. And then also like when it comes to taxes and stuff, a lot of red states, I mean, they're free market economy states more so than places like California.
Mm.
There's fewer regulations, like tax revenue is lower. Like on every metric, like even people who live there, they're not making decisions to be a drain on society. They just happen to live somewhere that put takes in more resources. I don't think it's fair to blame the people that live there. I don't understand that, even
Yeah.
because kind of the whole rhetoric of the Democratic Party is that, oh, we want to expand access to these
Mm.
social programs. Like that could mean that blue states that right now are in the positive, so to speak, in terms of government spending, aka they put in more than they take out. That could change under Biden if he decides to include more of these social programs, which is a good thing. I mean, government spending is not like a household. You don't need to make a budget and be like, oh, we have this much money to spend. That's not how it works. You're allowed to create money. You're allowed to make up bullshit because it's all imaginary.
Mm.
And Republicans understand that, and that's why they're able to do more change when they need to.
Mm.
But I'm afraid that Biden, people like him, don't necessarily understand that. They're not willing to use the tools of government to actually make change. Zion says a lot of those states are also havens for the upper class and those that abuse the workers, especially New York and California. Very true.
Mm.
And they make their money in states that are lower regulation, like Georgia, for example. If you look in the movie industry, Georgia is one of the places where most movies in North America are filmed because they offer huge subsidies for film companies. How much of that do you think is kicked back to workers or in that industry in Georgia? Slim to none. A lot of these profits
Mm.
are going straight back to Hollywood. That's a great example, like of what
Yeah.
Xeon says.
The Walking Dead.
These red states are havens for people to extract capital and then take it back to the coastal cities where they live, so they can have
Yeah.
amazing cities to live in. And yeah, it's definitely bad.
No, I definitely agree. This is a good point you're making here. Like, it's fucked. It's really fucked. You know, like we see the capitalists. You know, we see them abuse. You know, other countries outside the United States, but the abuse is
Right.
also coming from within.
Exactly. Yeah. Xeon says not only that, but there won't be as much issue with unions in Georgia. Very true. Yeah, it's also a cultural thing. Xeon brings up a great point too. It's like a lot of workers in the U.S. are like, I'll use the word content. They're content to be abused and
Mm.
exploited because they don't understand the level of exploitation. They're kind of like when like you talk to a working person, especially like in a place like Georgia where exploitation is much higher. uh, Ask them like what they think about their job, and you can kind of figure out like this person's working for a stupid low wage. They're working stupid high hours with no benefits. They don't have health insurance.
Mm.
But then you ask them like how they are, and they're saying like I'm doing great. I'm living my best life. It's like they don't even
Mm.
realize the level of
All I need
exploitation
is
that they're at. So
my Budweiser and my shotgun, Caleb. That's all
exactly,
I
yeah,
need.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
We saw that. Xeon
mm,
says we saw that here in my local stuff where people ran over each other to give labor for free, just to be in a show or a movie, and they know that and use it. Yeah, exactly. Very predatory, scary, man.
yeah,
Very scary.
yeah. But I want to get into something. I want to get into another topic that is, might tilt some people in the chat. Might get their bloods boiling. Might get their blood pressure a little up. Right. This is a very popular. I feel like it resurgenced recently. Let's fucking show the audience here. This image right here. Caleb, why don't you read that for us?
Jesus. Okay.
If you can see that.
To all tenants, please understand, if Joe Biden is elected as our next president, everything you do and have to pay for will change completely. Everything will be increased, like paying a lot more in taxes, utilities, gasoline, groceries, new permits, fees, and regulations, everything. This also means your rent will be increased to cover these expenses, most likely doubling in price. If the current president is reelected, we will not raise the rent for at least 2 years. Voting is your choice, and we're not telling you how to vote. But by the way, we're just informing you, our tenants, what we will do according to the election results. If Trump wins, we all win. If Biden wins, we all lose. Signed, your neighborhood leech.
Yes, and this is a letter tenants from this building got from their landlord, which is truly fucking just despicable. Like, like I'm not saying vote Trump, but vote Trump or else.
Yeah, I'm like
Oh my
90%
god,
sure
bro.
this is electioneering and definitely a federal crime. Um, and Xeon says Mao was right. I can't say that on YouTube, but I just thought I would
Mm,
read the comment. I'm not saying whether I
mm.
agree with it or not, but
You
maybe
know,
I do.
I'm just
Michael
curious
says
as to what it
guillotine.
would look like with this person's head in a guillotine. I'm just curious. Like, what
I'm
would
just
that look
curious.
like?
Yeah, exactly.
What would
Right.
that look
Like I'm
like?
not saying do it. I'm not saying do it. I would
Uh,
never advocate for that because it would be highly illegal. But I'm
yeah.
just saying it would be interesting to know what it would
Like,
be like.
I think, yeah, it would be. I
It's
wonder
a
what that
thought
looks like.
experiment. It's
I wonder
no
what that
more
looks
than that.
like.
It's just a thought
Yeah.
experiment. Like sometimes you're sitting around, you're like, I wonder what it would be like to, crash my car or something
Yeah.
like that. It's just you're just
Mm,
thinking about it. You would
mm,
never do it,
mm.
you know?
It definitely would be interesting to see
Uh
that.
but if anyone wants to buy a 2006 Kia Rio with a retitled retitled car,
Mm.
go ahead and hit me up. You can message me on Twitter.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but I just think this is how many
rebuilt
other
title.
landlords are secretly doing this. Without telling their being this blatant about it.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my god, it's awful. I hate landlords. I mean, like
Mm.
we've talked about my fucking landlord in this podcast. There was a whole landlord saga of this podcast
Caleb
with
was like
my.
on the verge of being homeless,
Yeah,
for a bit.
like I never realized as a kid. Like people
Mm.
joke about that shit. They make like this. it's like a commonly
Mm.
accepted thing that landlords are just
Oh yeah,
parasites on
landlords
society.
they're gonna steal your, no matter how clean your apartment is, you say goodbye to
Yeah.
your deposit. You might as well kiss that goodbye. You're never gonna see
Yeah,
that again.
I was just telling my girlfriend that the other day. She
Mm,
was like, we were budgeting because we're planning on moving after we graduate, right?
mm.
We're budgeting. She's like, oh, don't forget, we're gonna get our like $2,500 back for our deposit. I was like, we're not getting
No,
that
you're
shit. What are
not.
you talking about? We're not
They're gonna
getting
be
that.
like, they're gonna like fucking punch a hole in the wall. There's like, so we found this
Yeah.
hole in the wall here, and we're gonna have to keep your deposit to fix this whole entire apartment.
Yeah, man. Oh my god. If I got this letter on
Mm.
my door, I don't even know what. I mean, like my blood would be boiling. I honestly don't know what I would do. Like it's just what do you do? I mean, it's not like you
It's
have
like you
much
can't do
recourse, right?
anything. Like, what are
Yeah,
you gonna do?
you're just shit out of
Deal with
luck,
it.
I guess, but fucking
Yeah.
parasites, man.
So
I
disgusting.
just I hate landlords and Mao had a lot of good points.
Mm.
Like I don't know in that particular field, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I just think that he was a great thinker and I
Yeah.
look up to him a lot.
I mean, if you don't want to lose your head, just get a job, a real job.
Exactly. Yeah, get a fucking job.
You're fucking instead of stealing 1/3 of your tenant's wages.
Yeah. 1/3 if you're lucky,
Yeah.
man. Shit. Dude, rent is more than 80% of my income. Like
That's fucking
when I
wild.
was working at Kroger,
That's crazy.
my income it was 80% of my income.
Mm. Yeah, and it's crazy
So,
because like they always like, oh, find an apartment that that's 1/3 of your wage. Be prepared to give that
yeah.
up to your tenant, to your landlord, right? But like that's not the case for most people. Most people are like living fucking paycheck to paycheck. Like fucking if one incident happens to them,
Yeah.
like let's say they fucking need to get a new tire. Well, I can't pay
Yeah, right,
rent
a
this
flat
month.
tire even.
Uh,
Even a $200 expense like a flat tire is like a world-shattering event.
mm,
And also I wanted to say too, like kind of to harken back to the blue state, red state
mm,
thing. People like to pretend that living in California means you're automatically rich, but like it's kind of the same thing. Like you're living paycheck to paycheck. All the numbers are just like forward. You know, it's
mm,
like a WoW level squish. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like you're level 50 now, but you have the same stats as you were when you were level 120. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like people who are living in California making 150 grand, they're one $200 expense away from bankruptcy, just like you.
mm,
They just pay a lot more in everything. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
It's just increased. Yeah,
As Zion says, 1/3 of your wages, so like 1/50th of the value of your labor. Exactly, because like we're already only getting like one
yeah,
fiftieth of our labor anyway, and then 1/3 of that goes away to the fucking landlord. At the end of the day, we're only getting like 1% of what we're actually worth these
mm,
days, man. It's crazy to me how sometimes jokes will enter into the common parlance. Like people are like, landlords are parasites, they should
mm,
all die, everything like that.
mm,
But then like no one actually, it's a joke. Like a similar thing happens with lawyers as well. Like people hate lawyers and they're
mm,
like, they're so awful, they're so terrible. But then like in real life, they don't care. They treat lawyers with respect, right?
yeah,
I don't understand why people treat landlords with respect is basically what I'm saying. I would never be friends with a landlord. Like if one
mm,
of my friends was a landlord, like that would be it. That would be the end of the friendship. It's morally
yeah,
objectionable to me.
yeah. It's truly fucked.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Just a couple of points before we move on. Zion says, as of January 2019, 27% of people experiencing homelessness in the entire United States are in California. Dude, that is so awful. And if you've ever been there, I've only been there a couple times in my life, but
mm,
like you see it, man. You drive down the streets, there's like
see
people
people
just
living in
homeless on the
tents.
side of the
Yep.
streets. Yeah, like it's horrific. I mean, it's a commonplace thing.
Mm,
He also says nationwide, more than half of the people experiencing unsheltered homelessness reside in California. That is insane. I mean, even though it's the biggest state, like it's crazy to me. Half of the homeless people live there, and like
yeah,
shit, I see
it's
homeless people
fucked.
all the time here.
Because
And
then they
yeah,
they do these cleaning sweeps. We had a discussion about this like
yeah,
a couple episodes ago, and it's like, oh, cleaning sweeps. They're gonna clean PogChamp, right? But actually, no. What they're cleaning up is homeless people, homelessness off their
homes of
streets.
homeless people. Yeah,
Yeah,
like tents.
tents and
They'll
shit like that. Then like
tear up.
putting up anti
Yeah.
places where you can't sleep. Putting up those fucking like spikes and shit. It's like it's fucking
Dude, I watched
disgusting.
some footage of a cop like taking a Bowie knife to someone's tent. Like I
Mm.
swear, like how do you not just cap that guy right there, bro? Like seriously, like how can
Mm.
you have so little empathy
Right,
in your life,
they're
bro?
all for defending the property, but like I
Yeah,
guess the homeless tents like
I would not be able to sleep at night. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I was doing shit like that. I don't get how people do that. I really
mm.
don't.
Yeah, it sucks.
But
But
anyway,
let's move into some of the last topics here.
yeah. I
Uh,
wanted to bring up
yeah.
one thing, if you don't
Okay.
mind. Uh, Elon Musk.
Yes.
Okay. Starlink. You know, the satellite internet program.
We
They're
talked
really
about that.
big
Yes.
into it. It's their flagship product right now. I'd say, other
Mm.
than of course, their Teslas as well.
Mm.
I mean, Tesla's always going to be what they're known for, but the Starlink thing is blowing up right now. And there is new news. There was an internal email among people who were involved in the like beta of the Starlink. They did like a
Mm.
private internal beta where developers were able to use it to test it out. Now public finally get access to it now,
Mm.
and it's looking kind of good. So in an email, they said that the internet's gonna cost approximately $100 a month plus $500 upfront for the receiver, which is just like when you get satellite TV. Like a guy comes to your house and puts a dish on your roof,
Mm.
just like
Yeah.
that.
Same
Costs
thing
five
for
hundred
like paying
bucks.
like cable and like
Yeah,
adding all the wires and shit. Yeah.
right, exactly. So it's similar to that, a little bit more expensive, but it's
Mm.
a one-time expense of $500. And the speeds are as follows: approximately 50 to 150 megabits download. They did not mention upload, so I'm assuming it's about the same, maybe less. 20 to 40 millisecond latency, and you may notice it's pretty big, like gap. It all has to do with just basically where the satellites are. They call it the constellation, like where it is in its orbit.
Mm.
Literally, I mean, it's beaming the signal to a fucking satellite, so it matters. But also, most importantly, it really matters because during times when there is no satellite coverage, you don't have internet. You lose total access to the internet. There and they said in the email there will be times when you lose access entirely because we don't have the necessary coverage to give you internet at all times. I mean, that's a killer for me,
Yeah.
man. That
Yeah. Like
sucks.
yeah. For real. Like why? Like
Yeah, like seriously, like it's not ready. If that's the case, then it's not ready.
yeah.
And I
You
mean,
gotta
it
put
is a
some more
beta,
satellites
so
up there.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw something too that the estimated cost for this was, they say it's $10 billion. I don't believe that. It has to be higher. And I mean, even if it is higher though, even if it is 10 billion, like let's go with their estimate.
Mm.
How do they make money? Like
It's because
where
they
what is the
plan to
demographic?
Well, you see, you know how there's like the ISP monopolies that they've set up because it's not easy setting up an ISP business, right? That's why these
Right.
monopolies form, and there's the
Yeah,
East
it's a
Coast
natural
with
monopoly, right?
yeah, and so like there, finally there's some competition against these ISP monopolies. Maybe there people are tired of fucking Bright House or whatever it's called, Spectrum now, and
Yeah.
the other ISPs.
Comcast.
They want something. Finally, there's a hey, I can switch to Elon Musk's Starlink shit because it's available in my area because it's going all around the world now. So
Do you think that that's actually going to happen? Because I mean, the price
if
is
it's
pretty
good
bad.
enough,
$100.
I
It's
think
not though. I don't think it
yeah.
is. I don't
I
think
mean
it's
not
there yet.
yet.
Because like,
All right.
if you look at the
If
speeds, I
it gets
mean,
better,
like, let's go with the highest speeds,
yeah.
just to be fair to them. But like, I mean, let's be honest, they're not going to be getting the highest speeds. Satellite
Mm,
internet is dog. I
mm,
mean, like, we like, no matter how good you have it, it's not going to be as good as fiber. It's just not made to do that. And I understand that that's not the demographic, right?
mm,
They're not. If you have access to fiber internet,
mm.
you're never going to use Starlink. It's not for you.
Maybe
I get that.
also it's to these rural places where you have to pay people to like
Yeah.
set up infrastructure to get internet out there to your like these rural areas. Maybe they're
Yeah.
trying to target
I
those
accept
demographics.
I accept that they're trying to target that,
Yeah.
but I don't understand how it will ever be how it will ever be profitable.
Mm,
The whole reason that ISPs don't build infrastructure out there is because it's not profitable to
yeah.
do so. And this $10 billion investment allegedly
Mm,
into the Starlink constellation, I don't understand how in the in the short run that is ever going to be profitable. I mean, they may be cross subsidizing it with their other products like Tesla,
mm,
which okay, whatever, and maybe they're just trying to get involved in this space for some reason,
mm,
kind of like Facebook, they want to get involved in it as well. But I guess I don't see their evil plan really, and I'm curious to see where it goes. I think these speeds are pretty fucking bad. They're pretty disappointing. The price is insanely high. It's way too high for what it is, in my opinion.
mm.
Periods of total disconnectivity. I mean, that's right
Yeah,
there
that's
is
a
a
turn
deal
off.
breaker for
Yeah.
me. Yeah,
Cause like you're just, like
and
it's fucking 11:30. Your fucking assignments
yeah,
due
you're
at
rating.
12 a.m. and
Yeah.
then boom, no connectivity for the next hour. That would suck. I mean, I already get mad when my fucking internet turns off for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, dude. It'll be like 4:30 a.m. and my router's like, this is a normal time where humans are normally asleep, so we're gonna update for 5 minutes. And I'm like, 5 minutes of no internet?
5 minutes? What
I'm
am I
gonna
supposed to
cancel my
fucking
fucking
do?
service. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
for
don't know,
real.
man. I think like it's interesting, and we've talked about this before because
Mm,
the Starlink thing, it's such a great idea in theory because like if you were doing it and you were like a philanthropist and you
mm,
actually cared about humanity, you would offer this service for free. And I
mm.
think that like in terms of product in terms of possibility to be good to humanity,
Yeah.
Starlink is actually a great idea. And it annoys me that Elon
Mm.
Musk is the one behind it.
Yeah,
It's a
it
very
sucks. Just
it's a
another
great
reason for
opportunity that's
people
going to
to
be
simp
squandered.
over Elon Musk and be fucking
Yeah,
disgusting, simping over a capitalist. But
exactly.
I think it's as Corona gets worse and worse in the United States again, we're seeing that like internet is becoming more and more of a right that people need. So hopefully we get
Absolutely
some
agree. I think
government
that
internet.
internet is like, I don't know how many human rights there are supposedly, but
Mm,
however many there are, the internet needs to be added to it. I think that the way the world is going, the way society is going,
mm-hmm.
you cannot participate in modern society without
Yeah,
internet access. I
especially
think
because
that's
we were
just a
covering
fact.
a story a couple podcasts ago where we are talking about how there was this image of these young girls trying to do their schoolwork over like online, and they didn't have internet at home,
And it's
and
Taco Bell,
they had
yeah.
to go to like McDonald's and like sit
Yeah.
outside to catch a little bit of the hotspot.
Yeah, they're in the Taco Bell
Yeah,
drive-through, like
so
sitting on the side, and they're
yeah,
like 5-year-old girls, like
yeah,
cute as hell with their pink backpacks on, just sitting
mm,
at a Taco Bell parking lot because they can't get internet. I mean, like that in
mm,
theory is the demographic, I guess, of Starlink, right?
yeah.
But
I mean,
as to
there's
where
no way
as to whether those
that
people will have
demographic can even
access,
afford.
exactly,
Uh,
like that's too
the,
expensive for those people. The real demographic, in my opinion, is rich people who live in rural
yeah,
areas, like people who live on like big plantations and farms,
mm,
where they're like, they can't get fiber internet, but they're rich enough to afford Starlink. I
yeah,
mean, $100 a month and $500 installation cost—that's too much for
yeah,
normal people to afford. It's too much for me to afford. I pay for like $35 or $40 a month for my internet, and my speeds are as good as Starlink. So I mean,
yeah.
you know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna have to get a lot better to convince people, especially with this. The told us it's a big turnoff. It's gonna have
Yeah,
to get a lot better.
I don't think that I think that it's limited. Like I don't think that they can do much better though. Like the speeds aren't really going to get that much better. I mean, even with total coverage and no disconnectivity at all. Like even if you have coverage 24 hours a day, it's never going to be fiber internet. So like their demographic is never going to be people who have access to fiber internet. I don't understand. This market is ever shrinking. Like over time, as fiber rolls out more and more infrastructure gets built,
Mm,
Starlink's coverage of the market is going to be lower and lower. I don't understand this endeavor. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a fucking tech guy, so it could be that I'm missing something obvious, but I don't understand it.
mm,
So we'll probably bring this up again on the show. We'll see how it develops. We'll see what goes on. See if
mm.
it ends up to be a total failure or not. But maybe we'll be surprised. Who
Yeah,
knows?
maybe. But the last story I want to pick up on is a story that what was more popular a couple months ago, but murder hornets, Caleb. The nest are finally showing up in the United States, and
Really? Shit.
yeah, they killed 35 murder hornets and captured 13 alive, and they're saying that this is only the fucking start.
This is only the beginning. You are
How
not
much do you know
prepared for
about
what's to
murder
come.
hornets?
I saw pictures of them, bro, and like I don't fuck with it. I hate wasps. Anything that can fly and
Yes.
bite you is a piece of shit. Like seriously, I hate
Mm-hmm.
bugs that can bite you or sting you or whatever. They're just so unpredictable. They fly in such a way where it's like, they're like they're
They're
not
like
in a linear
teleporting around.
fashion.
They're like literally
Yes,
underpearling
exactly.
around, bro. It's crazy.
Like literally, I've played enough Minecraft
Yeah.
PvP. I feel like I should be able to swipe a fucking a wasp
Mm.
out of the air, but I can't. They're too dangerous.
And they're not like bees where like they have one attack and it's GG, bro. These
Yeah,
they fucking kill people out here, bro.
yeah,
Especially
and for some
people
people,
like
bees have poison
yeah,
damage too. Like I'm literally getting stung by a bee. Like that's an instant hospital visit for me. Like I can't even just get stung and like walk it off. I gotta like
yeah.
go get an EpiPen and like
Jesus.
it's a whole thing. That fucking sucks too.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Like
It's fucked. Like
Y-
I
You
worry.
can't convince me that hornets are like a necessary to the environment. Like I don't care.
I
They
mean,
could be
they
like, oh,
like
they're
yeah,
pollinators,
pollinate shit like
they
that.
kill bugs. Like I don't give a shit. Fuck animals, fuck trees, fuck bugs,
I
and
mean,
all that
hornets
shit. I
they don't
hate
even look
everything.
good. They look scary.
Right?
Like it's one of
They're
those things in like
disgusting.
human evolution where like we gain a natural fear for spiders, a natural fear for the snakes. Hornets
Yeah.
is on that fucking list, bro. I mean, look at them. like like it is
Yeah.
hard ingrained in our brains to stay away from these motherfuckers.
Unless you're eating them or something. Yeah.
Would you
I've
eat
heard
it?
they're
Would you eat
delicious.
cap? You're
No
capping.
fucking cap, dude.
You're
Dude,
capping.
have you ever had crickets before? They're
No, bro.
good, man.
But there's
They're
this thing
delicious.
also like
Don't
we're
act
talking
like you
about
haven't
bees.
eaten weird shit, Mr. Ecuador, man. You literally ate like fucking
I mean,
live. What was it?
Kui?
What
It's called
Kui? Yeah.
kui.
What is
Kui's
that cute animal that you ate?
it's a guinea pig.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Hold on. I wish I could find like a cute picture. Like he literally showed me this picture. They're fucking like they're cute little
Guinea
like
pig?
chubby cheeked animals that he just devours. So I don't even want to
I
hear
mean,
it about the fucking
you're
crickets, bro.
tarnishing my name because I probably had kui like one time, and then after that I was traumatized. I don't know if I ever told the story on the podcast, but basically, so I was in Ecuador for like 3 months, and we were gonna like they were preparing kui, right? So we go to like the farmers market, the food market, right? And we buy a bag of guinea pigs, right? Because they sell them by the bag. And we go home, and I like take one out of the bag, and I try hiding it so they won't fucking murder it, right? And then they take it out my hand, and they break its neck on the countertop and throw it in the hot boiling water to get all the hair off of it. And then
Jesus
they
fucking
fucking cut the
Christ.
shit, cook it in the oven. But fuck, bro. After that moment, I was like, I'm never eating kui again. I haven't since.
Yeah, man. I can't eat cute animals. Like if I see them, I just can't eat them. I'll eat bugs because they're disgusting. Like I fucking step on a bug. I don't give a shit.
Like
I'm like a
oh, yeah,
pacifist, but I don't care. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, like there was another fucking thing that's like popping up, like of people eating honey, and then like there's like a bee in the honey, and then they keep on eating it. Is this shit like I can't tell if this shit's fake or real? Like, do they know, or are they purposely eating the bee inside the honey? Have you seen any of these clips?
No, not at all.
Like they'll be like guzzling honey from like a big bottle, bro. And
They probably have some kind of like innate thing, or they're just like they just detect fucking nutrition. I swear, anytime I see any bug like that, they fly right here, right? And I like take a step to the left, and they go, and then I take a step to the right, and they go. Like they always like they're trying to fly in your fucking mouth. You know what I mean? I feel like they smell something. Like they have like sugar particles in their what are these things called?
Antennas?
Yeah, that. And they like taste the air, They must. I don't know how else the fuck they would get
must dive inside mouth. I mean, it's true. We know that you swallow like 3 gallons of spiders every decade.
That's not real. That's bullshit, man. No, that's not real. That's not real. I've never eaten a spider. You can't convince me.
That's such a funny lie.
That's such a bullshit thing too, because like, how would you even eat it? It's not like you're chewing. Like, what is it gonna crawl down your gullet?
And then it just
you're just like your throat's open.
It's because and they're saying like, oh, like the warm air coming from your mouth is like a perfect place for the spider to nestle. And then they crawl inside your stomach and lay their spider babies. And like the
spiders are literally they're like terrified of humans. They run away at like any sign of humans. They hate them. It's bullshit. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go munch on some spiders, bro. We should draw this to a close.
Yeah, we're getting really hungry. I'm starving to eat a bee with some honey right now, to be honest with you. But it's been a fun episode as always. Every fucking week, another banger episode.
Every single fucking week, bro.
Yeah.
Without fail.
True.
Custom says, I let my pet tarantula sleep on my cock. Dude, it's like a perfect like ornament, People like to put nuts on a truck. You put tarantulas on a cock, bro. No person will ever say no to that.
Dude, I already know when I gave John fucking chat admin. He must have like came by like one day.
John's an admin, but I'm not. Interesting.
Yeah. You have to pay a premium for that service.
Yeah, Patreon's only.
$20 a month version. But yeah, I mean that's the episode. I'm ready to sign off here. If
Yeah,
you're ready.
I'm ready. Play it
So
out.
it's been a good ass stream, boys. As always, I've always had fun every time. There was a lot of interesting topics this week, and hopefully next week is election week, and we'll be doing another podcast on the day of the election. So that might
Yeah,
be
let's do a live. We're gonna do a live
yeah.
thing.
It's gonna be
We'll see
like
what
might be a
happens.
longer episode. We might do our regular airing of the podcast, but then we might stay off like after we end it. Stay to coverage, do some live coverage of the election night because that should be interesting. And I want to thank everyone who came out. In the chat here, Michael, Stefan, we got here. We got Custom Ability, Xeon Pilot. We saw that Fritz was in here earlier. Grunt 980, Justin Edwards. Thank you, guys. These are all people who came out into the chat. And if you're wondering, how do I watch the Left in the South live? I always hear Caleb talking to the chat, and I get a little jealous. But let me tell you, it is easy how to arrive at these podcasts. You might be working, unfortunately, but hey, we try to go live at 5 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time. So, on our YouTube channel, Left in the South. Easy, just type in Left in the South in YouTube, and should be one of the first results.
Perfect time for you to throw it on while you're driving home from work.
Yes.
Swerving between lanes, pulling us up on YouTube.
Or if you're about to even have sex,
there you go.
it's some good background.
Yes. I've heard that my voice actually increases boner size by 10 to 15%. So give it a try. And make sure to message us any experiences, sexual only.
Yeah, if we make you come, let us know on Twitter. Left in the South podcast.
DMs are open.
Litz podcast _ Yes. But, that's been another episode. Episode 37. I've had a good time. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.